hope you got some rest from yesterday. I know it was a very long and very exciting day. I know that you're still processing probably what's your amazing show. So, first of all, congratulations to all of you.
Yeah, that's dope.
So today we're joined by Altorrin, who not only an amazing person, amazing creative director, but been a long-term friend of Flying Solo. So we knew each other. I feel like
From the beginning.
yeah, from the beginning, like in the
Jesus.
Flying Solo wise, and
And
Altorrin's like,
me.
yeah, we were like, well, babies, like in terms of our careers and like how everything started.
For sure.
So I will let Altorrin introduce himself because there's so many achievements in this amazing man's life that I'm afraid I cannot keep up with him.
Oh God. Well, okay. So I'm Altorrin. I'm a stylist here based in New York City, and I'll just what I would love to share just right off is that when no one would loan me clothing, Flying Solo was like the very first showroom that would like take a risk and like give me things so that I could do my editorials and my testing. And we really did just kind of grow together. There's been several changes in my career, several locations for Flying Solo,
For sure.
but we are here and thriving, and it's really beautiful to see the growth and what you've created here. It's
Thank you.
it's it's quite inspiring.
Thank you.
So yeah. So anyway, was I supposed to talk about me?
Yes, you
Okay.
should talk
Well,
about
anyway,
yourself. They're familiar
so
with
I'm a
Flying Solo,
stylist. I
yeah.
mean, I do editorial campaigns. I mean, I'm all over the place. I am really, really diversified. Some stylists are more just celebrity, just this. I need all checks. So I really do work hard at like just spreading myself very wide and doing things that I love at the same time. So that's and everything else you can Google and all that kind of
Well,
stuff.
if you can name at least a few names that you work with, I know they already Googled you, but just for people that watching us live.
Everyone loves when I work with Coco Rocha, the model, supermodel. Anna Delvey is a really fun client of mine that I feel like is somehow like weirdly connected to Flying Solo. And Olivia Washington, who is starring in the new Amazon series I'm a Virgo. She and I actually are getting ready to go to the Sergio Hudson show tonight. So like right after this, I'll jet go get her dressed for the front row and just yeah. I mean, I work with a multitude of brands and I do quite a wide range of work. You know, it's kind of hard to kind of nail me down these days, and I really like that. I think I came up in an era where people told you you could only do one thing, and I'm loving that I'm finding that that's not true. You can do multiple things, and they all exist simultaneously.
Yeah, and Altorin is obviously being modest. Like he also styled like for any for all the big magazines, including
Yeah,
Vogue,
yeah.
Harper's, like he did it all, and some of them were with Flying Solo, which we're extremely proud about. And from the creative point of view, is one of those people who can style pretty much anything with anything and it comes out beautiful. And every time you look at his pool and everything that he is about to pull together, I was like, how is it going to work? It's like it's impossible. But then he made these beautiful pictures and you're like, oh, in an awe, because it takes a true artist to do
Thank you.
something like Altorin does.
Thank you.
So today in the audience are designers, the ones that have been with us in the show yesterday. So the focus will be a little more to give knowledge to you guys like about this industry. And I guess I'll start with a question that even though sounds kind of simple, but a lot of people always question why is this way. So why do any designer even need press? So obviously you work with press all the time, so what is the purpose of it? Everybody heard that you need press, but why?
So funny that you asked me about press because I'm actually going through a press situation now with a client. So you need press because no one knows who you are. How else is someone going to find you and be interested in you? I am a person who I'm quite modest in my own accomplishments and posting and all those things, but social media, your editorials, any press, any visibility, it is essential to your brand. Without it, you don't exist. It only exists in your head and with your family and your friends. And unfortunately, that's not enough to build an empire. And that's ultimately the goal, I hope. So press is essential. And with that being said, having a stylist work with you with your brand is also essential because they often are the liaison between press and yourself. There's many ways to do it, but often the stylist route is quite important in that journey.
Yeah, and what types of brands attract you first and foremost, and what are good ways to start working with the stylist? I mean, of course, like you pull directly from flying solo, but is there any other way that designers reach out to you? Good practices, bad practices,
Yeah.
what to do, what definitely not to do for designers.
So the first question is what attracts me to a brand?
Right.
So for me personally, I love things that are more bold, more statement pieces. That's like my go-to. But once I get up on it, I'm also looking at how well it's made. So sometimes you see things that are very bold and bodacious in stature or in volume or in texture, but then you get up on it and you're like, oh, this actually doesn't look that great, or it doesn't look like the photo. You know, those things when I see that it's beautiful and bold and it's well done, oh, you got me sold. And those are the brands, you know, even when they're smaller, I remember them and I try to interject them into editorials, even when I'm working with bigger magazines that aren't interested in smaller brands. A brand that I really love, I find a way to sneak it in because it's important. And whatever about the big brands, they're boring often. It's really the indie and the mid-tier brands that really push the eye for me in editorials. And it's always for me about figuring out a way to maneuver around the politics of fashion editorials with the bigger magazines and like getting those indie brands in. It's so important. And I think that's what makes my work look a lot different from other stylists that are working at my level because I still will pull in those smaller brands, those unique brands that haven't been ruined by money
Exactly.
yet.
And what are good ways for what do you find are the good ways to reach out to you? Should they send a lookbook? Should it be like good portfolio on Instagram? And what are the bad ways? Like anything that you can share.
Best way to get in contact with me is an email. DMs are weird. I do answer DMs. And if you bug me enough, I'll definitely answer it. But often it's if it's about business, I prefer you email me. And my email is the easiest email to find because my name is Altorrin. Like no one else in the world has this weird name. So you can find my email very simple. It's studio@altorrin.com. That's it. You email me your lookbook. If it's interesting, I'll respond regardless. But if it's interested, I'll reach out to you and say, hey, send me some samples. And if I see it, if it's great, I'll shoot it. I mean, it's just that simple. It's really not that complicated with me. Maybe other stylists, but with me, if it's good shit, I'm into it.
And what are some bad stories that you had with designers? You don't need to name obviously, but for the sake of
Bad
us not
stories.
not repeating the mistakes.
You know something? What I want to say that's bugging me lately,
Yeah.
and so this will be for you guys when you become even bigger. So I have a client that I've been putting in. Did I mess this
No,
up? Is this okay?
you good.
Okay, I have a client that I have been putting in brands, and so the brands are having shows now. And she's a substantial client. I don't want to say her name, but anyway, the brands have completely forgotten about the stylists that introduced the celebrity to the brand, and now it's fine that they're like engaging with her and inviting her to all the shows, but they're forgetting the actual person that connected them. So my advice to you as designers, don't forget the people that help get you to that next tier. It's important that you invite them to your press junkets, that you invite them to your runway shows, because without these people helping you along the way and connecting you to powerful talent that gains you visibility, you don't have it. So don't forget that. That's a thing that's been bugging me lately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I cannot agree more. Honestly, it's like one thing that we always promote, like tag everybody, credit
Tag
everybody.
everyone, be loyal, remember the people in the beginning, that supported you. Don't get too big for your britches, because those are your people actually that were there in the beginning when you were starting. not the people that jump in once everything is lovely and glamorous. You know, you want the people that are down for you in the trenches.
Yeah, and again,
That's all
cannot
it
agree
does.
more with that. Like, everybody who is involved in your work should be credited, even for the sake of extra exposure, if nothing else, even for the sake of thank you. And I mean, we always tell our designers is like, if the stylist pulls something from you and it's end up being published, send a DM with a thank you note, saying like how grateful you are. These little things go such a long way,
They
and it
really do.
creates such an amazing relationship between everybody. It's like literally 20 seconds of your time and maybe a long lasting relationship
Yes. And we
after.
remember it. I remember everyone who's like, hey, thank you so much for
Ooh.
pulling. Even sometimes if you pull things and they don't get used, because often that will happen as well. But if you find out that a stylist that you really like their work and you want to continue the relationship, reach out and say, hey, I know things didn't work out with the editorial, but thank you so much for pulling. I have some new things I would love for you to see. Maybe they can work for your next. Keep the conversation going, because when we're in the middle of a job, the people that we remember are the people that have been bugging us.
Mm.
You know, that's really what it comes down to. It's about being visible and get out of your head about, oh, I don't want to be worrisome. I don't want to keep, I don't want to bother them. But get out, bug, be persistent, bug people. Don't be a nuisance and don't be rude, but you need to be persistent. It's this machine is going a zillion miles a minute. You really think that you sending those extra 2 emails is going to make that big of a difference? It can for you, but not for us. Like, send the email. And if there's a number in the signature, get on the phone. People don't get on the phone anymore. I talk to my assistants and they've been emailing back and forth with a brand and we don't have any movement. And then I look at the email and at the bottom, there's a phone number. Get on the fucking phone and say, hey, I need your attention. Like, that's why the number is there. Be persistent and really get yourselves out there, because without it, no one's going to see it. No one cares. Like, put yourself out, get out of your head, post, just take it over. It's there. Social media is free. Take advantage of it. Beyonce does all of her promotion through social media and she's a billionaire. So why aren't you utilizing it?
Amazing.
Yeah.
And switching topics a little bit, like something that I guess often not clear and to younger designers is commercial versus editorial,
Mm.
and like a commercial collection versus editorial collections.
Mm-hmm.
I know that different styles have a different take on that. So what's your take? Should designers do two different collections? Should it be just key pieces that are more editorial and more commercial? So
I
any.
think you should do, when you're making art, you should do what's true to you. I feel like when you start to think about money primarily, that is when the art begins to be, the integrity of the art is questionable. I believe in staying true to who you are and letting your voice find the people that want to listen. I think that may be a long game, but I think in the long run, it does pay off. When you're trying to be something you're not, especially in this day and age where it really is about individuality, I think you can lose yourself. So if you are an avant-garde type designer and that's the work that you do, I think you need to be wise about your market and where you are positioning yourself. But if that's the type of work that speaks to you and moves you, then that's what you should make. If you're not a commercial, conservative designer, then why try to emulate that for the sake of money? I think in the long run, it doesn't work because people can feel what is true. At least I can. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I again cannot agree more to that. Staying true
Yeah.
to yourself is like, it's why any designer is started the whole journey of being a designer, and not forgetting it is quite important. But what if you're a designer who did commercial pieces at the beginning, or maybe not even commercial, but maybe just the tiny little jewelry? It's an aesthetic of a
Mm-hmm.
designer. So how do you relate to editorial work? Because I mean, of course, it will be less noticeable in editorial. So, what is that you supposed to do to get more into press, and like, what's your journey then?
I think if, let's say, you are more commercial in your design, then I think it's about knowing your audience. So then you probably need to be more focused on celebrity, where it isn't so much about being avant-garde. It's really about things being much more subtle and things being centered around the talent. So I would focus, like I would be contacting, let's say I'm a jewelry maker and I make very small, delicate, quaint things that aren't very bold. Okay, so those things belong on celebrity. They don't really belong on high fashion, high end editorials because they're going to vanish. I would be tailoring my communications to stylists that work with actresses and talent that would wear those things. I wouldn't send those things to Grace Jones. I would send it to Nicole Kidman because that's her aesthetic, that's her world. And so that's who I would be communicating with. Like, make it make sense. Don't send your little small delicate pieces to me because I want the biggest ring. I want the biggest earring. I want the biggest, neck piece. Send that to another stylist that does really work in that realm. And it's plenty, an abundance, a plethora of everything. You just need to know your audience.
Very good advice. Actually, very solid advice. Like, and and showroom versus going on your own. Obviously, there are advantages to both of them. Of course, like being represented by a showroom takes a lot of work from the designer, obviously. Like, but there is a cost involved. Doing on your own, there is zero cost other than your personal time, but there is also comes advantages. But from your personal standpoint, is like for you as a stylist, as a creative director, dealing with the showroom versus dealing with a person themselves, like what to do, what not to do, what do you prefer?
You know, I so I don't the inner workings of what happens with the designer and the showroom versus like you like representing yourself. I don't really know that because I'm not on that end of that.
Mhm.
What I can speak to is when I'm contacting a showroom versus when I'm contacting a designer one on one. I mean, it's really kind of the same process on my end. There's an email. I go to the Insta, I look and see. I email you. Um, I don't know. I think for me, it doesn't really make that much difference if you're represented or not. I think sometimes doing your own thing, or at least being very involved in your press, is very smart because I think sometimes the bigger showrooms, they kind of just don't follow up as much. They don't. You can get lost in the shuffle. Um, so I think sometimes a smaller mid-tier showroom is maybe sometimes a bit more beneficial, depending upon your brand size as well. I mean, there's so many different variables that you have to think about. But I say just across the board, regardless of if you are with a showroom or you're handling your own press, you need to be involved heavily because no one's going to take care of your baby like you. And I think that's just in life. That's just good life advice. Like, take care of your shit. Look after your art. Look after what you've spent hours into. Don't just leave it for someone else and just trust 110% that they will take care of it because that's not how this works. Be involved. Bug your showroom. Say, hey, what are the pulls looking like? What editorials have I been pulled for? Can you give me a list of the stylists? And then follow up with the style. Get the images. Like you have to stay on top of it. If you're just waiting for them to just, send you whatever the report is that they need to report to you, I mean, do you really care? Like, get involved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good advice. I mean, we do it automatically. It's the system is already very much
Yeah.
automatic. You get an automatic email as soon as you get in your editorials and pictures with that. But it's a very good advice because not a lot of showrooms
Some
do
people
that.
don't,
Yeah,
probably don't do that. I don't think. I'll
yeah.
tell you often. I will shoot something, and let's say the images come out. We will send the images to the showroom, and I will not bring up the showrooms, but it's several. And I mean, they're big showrooms. They're like reputable showrooms. And then I will get a DM from the designer and say, "Hey, I would love this image. And I'm like, well, why don't you have it? I sent the images to the showroom. But often the showroom doesn't even get the images back to the designer so that you can then post and say, hey, you know, I was involved in this and blah, 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 blah. You have to just kind of like check in on people and make sure they're doing their job. I'm a firm believer in that.
I really thought that you're going to say something different along the line. Is like
What?
I'm just about to. I just shot the project, and Flank's already bugging me for the picture.
No, 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 no. But you guys do follow up. I do
We
get the
do.
emails. Yeah. They're like, where are these images?
Well, in a nice way. I hope,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, 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 yes. Always in a nice way. Yeah, always in a nice way. But yeah, but you guys too, like find out who's pulling your shit. Like, know what's going on. And
Yeah.
if no one is pulling your things, you need to know why. Like that's important too. Find out from the press, like what can you give me feedback on what people are saying when they see my dress, my shoes, my bag? Like find out what that conversation is. Because maybe you might need to be tweaking some things, you
Yeah,
know?
and to add to that, it's definitely like a good question is if there are a few items from your collection that's constantly being pulled and the rest are not being pulled, like what's the reason for it? You always should ask people is like, is there something? Sometimes it's actually sizing, like believe it or
Could be
not.
sizing.
Sometimes, like, when designers send us shoes size 36, it just will not fit on the model. And it could be the most beautiful shoe in the world,
Yeah.
but it just will not work for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're a shoe designer and you want and you're gearing you know your what you want aesthetically to be on models, models don't wear size 7. They wear size 9s and 10s. You
Yeah.
know, and sometimes larger. So
Yeah.
why are you sending 7s and 8s?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Because I guess technically it's a sample size for shoemakers. That's probably
yeah,
that's yeah.
that ain't about to be used in an editorial.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we did those guidelines many times. It just, yeah, always
I didn't
argument
know
with,
that. So
yeah.
that's a shoemaker's.
Well, apparently that's what I also learned from the shoe designers. Like when they do it for the trunk shows
Uh-huh.
and like for those like exhibitions and whatever, this is their samples
Oh,
37.
maybe because it's more of an everyday norm, like you know, everyday
Maybe,
woman size. But
probably,
models, yeah, anyone that's like 5'9" and up, she wears a size 9 and up
yeah.
typically. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it will be a different one. So a last question to Altorrin, and I'll open for your questions because I know that you have many. So last piece of advice, like how, like again, back on DMs because I know that it's everybody's pain.
Yeah.
So how often should designer reach out to you? How fast they should reply if you need something, and what's your expectation? Is like, okay, you're doing an editorial, you finally say, okay, I love this look, can you send it to me? So what's your expectation? How fast do you normally ask to be delivered?
I usually start my reach out. I mean, sometimes when it's perfect and I'm like not being rushed, I may do my reach out a week before. Um, I expect to have the garment or the piece at least like 2 days, no later than the day before the event or the shoot. Um, I think as far as outreach, you should reach out as soon as possible. Reach back out. So if I reach out to you and I want to pull a piece, like get back to me because I'm looking at several different things. And often it's about what I get first and what I love. And then if you get back to me towards like almost right when I'm about to shoot, I've already started restyling things in my head and thinking about what I'm using, and you're not part of that conversation, you know. So unless you just have something so dynamite, but typically I've already started processing based upon who's been replying and getting things to me. I'm already starting to work. So yeah, be quick about it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's also such a good advice because designers often think that they always have time and like, oh, my piece got picked. In reality, it's like many pieces got requests for a pull, and
Yeah.
if you're not fast enough, of course, if you have a great showroom that does all the work for you, it's just easier. I mean, you know that,
Yeah.
like we often open on the weekend for stylists that
Yes.
we
Yes.
needed. I personally was in our showroom at 12 a.m. for some pulls that needed to be done, and that's
Yeah.
how you build relationship. But this is what it takes, like honestly, for designers to be successful. It's like sometimes you
Yeah.
have to go like all their way.
And and what you asked me something else about DMs. Yeah, I guess like when you should reply.
Yeah, when you should reply, and I guess you did mention lookbooks, but what's about the feed of the designer? So how it should look like? Is it should be their editorials or just clean
I
lookbook
like
or just
clean. I mean, everybody has their thing, but I'm old school. I like a real actual lookbook against a white background. I don't really want to go through your Instagram and see how another stylist has styled your piece because that's a lot of information. I want to see what the piece looks like in its like natural original habitat. I know a lot of people use their Instagram as a lookbook, and that's fine if it's more of a what I call a transactional look. It's more, it's like it's just really about the garment. Like the hair is simple, there's no real background. It looks like a lookbook. But if you've built your Instagram around, let's say, work that other stylists have gotten images for you for, and that's what you're posting, and then you're driving me back to that, I want to see it in its original form. I think clean photos, lookbook style is great to be presenting yourself to stylists. How you want to do your Instagram, that's one thing, but I'm just not a huge fan of using my Instagram as like a means for someone to see my work
Mhm.
if it's not set up that way. That's just me. Again, I'm a bit old school and I like things very simplified and what I call stock. Like I just want to see if Sylvia has jewelry
Yeah.
made, I don't want to see the jewelry in an editorial with the sleeve is halfway over it and I can't quite and I gotta zoom. No, I want to see the ring with product lighting, in a box where I can really see the ring so that I can think about how I can utilize it best.
And that's why you come in person to see
And
for
yeah,
sure.
or send the assistant. Yes, that's why I'm like, let me come in person to actually see this. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So, okay, I'll open for questions. Thank you so much for all the advices, but I know that you guys have more. So, raise your hand if you want to ask something. Don't be shy. This man doesn't have a lot of time today. So, just like, go ahead. Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, which was your favorite collection this year? Flying solo show.
Oh, I have not even had a chance to see the
No
flying
way! Are you
solo
kidding
show.
me?
I have been working. That's why also another. I have on glasses because I am tired. Yes. Okay. These circles up under my eyes. I have not seen any collections
No way!
if it has not been constantly on my feed on Instagram. So I will have to come back to that. If you DM me a few days from
So
now,
many times.
yes, I will then
Oh,
tell
God.
you who I loved and who I didn't love so much.
Perfect,
But yeah,
thank you.
I have not seen the collections, guys. Sorry.
Oh man. Okay.
Next question.
Yes.
Oh, I'm from here to Shanghai too. It just depends on what I'm working on. It really just depends on the project. If I'm working with a publication in China, then we're doing all the Asian markets. Sometimes I'm talking to designers in Israel. Everywhere. Whatever is great, that's where I'm looking. And often it's outside of New York City, unfortunately. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Talk about tailoring your email to editorial versus commercial. Or how personal you get. Do you care if you know what's on your Instagram, what you've worked on before? Do you care if I'm talking directly to you?
I could care less.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the more information you know about me, yeah, the more flattered I am. Tell me more, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What advice would you have for someone who wants to get into personal styling? What are the first steps for you?
So you said personal styling because that's different. Personal
Just like
styling?
styling.
Okay. So what are the okay, well, first be super curious about everything from music, literature. Absorb it all because it's all information that you will use in your art. I think that even goes for being a designer. I just think you need to stay curious about everything just in life. All of that information informs your hands, your brains, your eyes. And specifically for styling, I think it's about getting with a stylist that's going to nurture you and give you what you need to kind of like get you on your way. That's kind of like the traditional way of doing it. I didn't really assist, but I'm also missing because I didn't traditionally like assist a stylist. I just kind of like
Like
appeared.
in
um,
a fabulous way.
I appeared and just kind of faked my way through it. Um, I think I'm missing a lot of the traditional steps of being a stylist, but you know, the talent that I've been given, you know, kind of makes up for it. But I think, you know, going the traditional route and really assisting is a great way, as long as you're pairing yourself with a stylist that really cares about you and that really wants to help, because oftentimes that's not the case. So you got to be careful who you latch yourself onto.
Awesome. Yes.
Yes, I just would like to thank you. I appreciate to hear that the designers can also reach out to the stylists.
Absolutely.
Because I am a one-woman company and I come from Finland.
Yeah.
And I am like working alone.
Yes.
Everything alone.
Yes.
But then I have been partnered with client Showroom.
Mm-hmm.
And my pieces are also in the press room here. And they have been shooted and they have been on the different fashion magazines.
Okay.
But
Congratulations.
for the moment, I am just in a way sitting and looking, going there, now and then looking who has been pulling and my piece, and then I go online to look who is this, and
Yes.
to go and look for behind who is who
Yes.
who he or she is.
Mhm.
Yes.
My piece, but then I have not done anything. I'm just in a way waiting.
What are you waiting
where-
for?
where-
Who are you waiting for? Jesus? You better reach out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Reach out and say hello.
I,
Yeah.
I agree, and like a thank you is always a good idea, even if the person didn't see it for like month and then end up in like those spam DMs or whatever
Yes.
they'll see it later. I think gratitude really goes a long way. It's like I
does.
cannot say it enough.
Yeah, and I mean it's on my end as well. I am constantly in gratitude to designers and publicists that when I'm calling them the day before an event and I'm like, I need shoes, da da da, and they're like, come in, this is what we have. Like, I am full of gratitude because this is what keeps the machine moving. Gratitude. It's all about gratitude. We're all in service to each other. It's so funny. I've been working with a brand, and I'm the type of person, if I do I don't want to call it a favor. Okay, I am not the type of person that if I do something for you, I feel like I need to be like monetarily compensated for every single thing that I do. So let's say, for instance, and I'm using Sylvia because we're friends. So Sylvia is a jewelry designer. Let's say Sylvia loans me some jewelry, or I'm able to make a connection for Sylvia, something that she needed. I don't then need a kickback from Sylvia because this thing that I kind of helped facilitate happened. Like, it's great, but I don't need it because there's a loyalty and there is a friendship and a relationship here between us. And so, because I am full of gratitude for what you've done for me in the past, I don't mind getting Sylvia connected to an investor for whatever she has coming up, like, and then needing a kickback. Like, I don't really work like that. I feel like paying it forward is my kickback, and the universe really does take care of the rest.
That's that's really great advice and like personal way of doing things. Yeah.
Oh, you want to find out this? What are you trying to find out about us? Oh, go to models.com. Models.com has a wealth of knowledge. Like, it's so much information there. Go to models.com, put in editors, stylists, and everywhere from all over the world that's like a noted stylist will appear. Yeah. And I mean, and old fashioned like Google. I mean, I find out designer. I mean, I am the best detective in the world. I can find anybody's email that's in the industry, because often if I see something, you're like, where is this? Who wore it? You got to like backtrack and go through so many different things, and then you find the designer. But then you need to find the designer's email. Oh, I can find you. So just models.com is a great place. Yeah.
Yes. Hi.
How
How
are
is
you?
African fashion doing? Like, have you been working?
I love it. 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 I think what they're doing at Lagos, I mean, all the just it's incredible. I wish that the platform was bigger. I wish more attention was on it, but my eyes are on it. Where's my coat is in the back, but my coat is from Rich Menza, South African designer. It's brilliant. It took me forever to get it here from customs, but it's incredible. There it is.
The coat.
Yeah, I mean it is,
Yeah.
like he recently did something for Beyonce. Like I am having to like go other places outside of the US and find things because I just feel like it's just not interesting right now in fashion, especially like in New York. I am bored. I am bored. Okay.
Oh my God. It's a runway show. Bye.
I'm bored. So yes, I am very much in tune to African designers. What's hard is the communication because I'm here in the States. Like this coat again, this man has a proper website and everything, but it was so cumbersome making the purchase because I don't know if I'm assuming there's a lot of fraud that's happening. And so my bank would not approve it was a mess. We'll talk after this. I'll tell you all about it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm totally into it if I could buy more of it without having me like to migrate to Africa. But that might be what needs to happen because I'm all over it. I just wish I could have more access to it.
Yes. Well, I think plays solo the fact that me as an African designer, having access to market through playing solo is that great.
Are you wearing yourself? Is this you?
Yes.
This is gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great.
Thanks to playing solo, having the opportunity to be, and my friend also.
Hi,
from
friend.
Senegal.
I'm
So,
so
yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. Can you please make sure I get your info before I get out of here? Okay. Next question.
Awesome. I think there was a question there.
Hello. How are you? I'm well. Thank you for asking. To make your brand famous?
Three
Uh-oh.
easy steps.
Uh-oh. You know, it's I think it's about preparation meeting opportunity. Okay. So let's say what you really should be focusing on is first just making great shit. Really amazing designs, okay? So that when someone does pay attention to you, they want to put you on. They want to put you on this celebrity. They want to put you on in this project that's going to blow up. I think focusing on fame first is a trap. I think you need to be focused on your art and really pound that out. And then all those other things, the opportunity, again, and preparation, that is what luck is. It's not the other way around, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, just a comment with the question. Besides just showing off the collection, get more exposure from the new fashion week, what is the other way, the best way?
Celebrity. I'm gonna be real. If it's America, America is obsessed with celebrity. And you can get a piece on someone and it can change your life. But you're not gonna get that piece on someone if you're not in touch with the publicist and if you're not in touch with the right stylist.
So the celebrity, how can we reach out, like from the PR team or showroom or up to like you said, we reach out
I
to
mean,
them?
I don't know what the setup is for flying solo and the designer. If I was a designer, I would be feeding my PR team who I want to be geared towards, and can you help me find out this information, this mailing address, this whatever. Hey, beautiful. This information so that we can get this in front of this celebrity. I mean, I would be making flying solo work. They would be working for me. Like, I want this on Doja Cat. I need you to help me find this information, this mailing address for her stylist, and get this and it's we live in an information age. Like these things are not hard to find, but you have to actually do some work yourself as well. I know you have an agency and a PR and all that, but guess what? You still need to be working just as hard. It doesn't stop because you now have someone handling press for you. If anything, that frees you up to work even harder.
I think that was first, and then there will be the second. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I think speaking for everyone, we appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
I
My
just have
pleasure.
So many questions.
Go ahead.
Like,
What time is it? Hold on.
It's 3:45.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I guess like the question for me would be like, I think I've been doing my blog for like 12 years.
Okay.
But I think a lot of people are starting out, and I didn't start with like stylists or something like that sort of. But like how if you're like at the very beginning, or maybe like how do you find or connect? Like I know now we're represented by but like and I love like the personal connection, not just Instagram.
Right.
Like I'm also like a bit old fashioned that way. Like we love the personal relationship and building the long term relationship. Where else or how else can we find and connect with stylists or other creators?
Go out. Do you live here in New York?
I don't. I
Okay.
think a lot of us are not.
Well, wherever you are, I mean, I feel like, and I'm speaking to myself, I'm not a person that really likes to go out a ton. But if I was a designer and I really was trying to get my things in front of certain people, I would be out hustling and at the parties and finding out, like stalking people and being very strategic. No, this is real shit. Stalking people and being very strategic about where I am so that I could possibly maybe have a conversation with them. Like people make deals when they're like having drinks and in leisure. Like that's where a lot of business takes place. So obviously you have the proper route of like emailing a stylist or those type of things. But I think also like going out and networking and just doing old fashioned in front of you. How you doing? What do you do? I'm a designer. Da da da. That type of thing really is important because that's where you make more of a personal connection versus an email. Like, get your ass out of the house from the
Mhm.
sewing machine.
Awesome. And we'll take the last question before I believe Altorrin needs to go. Yes.
So, months ago, we were sitting in our house, minding our business, making jewels, wondering how we could expand.
Yes.
She sent the email, flying solo, said, come on out, join us. So we've here. We came, conquered, and did what we were supposed to do. What are we, small town Tacoma, Washington folks, to expect after we get on the airplane and go home? What, are we supposed to keep in contact with these folks? Or, are we supposed to just hope that somebody contacts us? Or what are we to expect?
I don't believe in waiting for anybody to do anything for me. If they have something that you need, my best advice for you is to be, even before you get on the plane, be sending an email and saying thank you. What's the next step? I'm really da 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 da. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a proper follow up with everything. Do not worry. But to Altorrin's point, like if there are other opportunities, is there DMs that comes your way, or other people start noticing you? I mean, we give what we give in terms of press and pictures and videos, but it will be your job to post it, to give it as much exposure, to tag everybody, to keep working with those teams. And we provide a lot, but like you are the owner of your business. At the end of the day, you're the designer and you're the owner, and you'll take the path like to
So
greatness.
they'll provide you with the assets, all of the imagery from the show. You need to take it and create a reel. You need to take it and put it on TikTok. You need to take it and you have to keep pushing it out until people, even when they're like, I'm tired of seeing this damn shit. Keep being visible, using it, because you spent your time coming here and doing this. And time is the only luxury in life. You can't fake it, you can't reproduce it. Once it's gone, it's gone. So make this time that you've spent actually work for you in abundance.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Tell
Okay,
us.
I gotta go. I love
Yes,
you.
yeah. Thank you so much. It was incredible. Really, thank you for
you.
giving us time in your busy
Thank you.
schedule.
Thank you for
so
having me.
much.
Nice.